All right, everyone, welcome to June's catch-up crop. I hope you have had a great month and have your photos ready to work tonight. I'm got to make a few little technical adjustments here. Um, so this is my monthly June catch-up crop. We're going to be working on photos from the month of June. I've got 4 layouts. Two of them are one-page layouts and two of them are two-page layouts. I posted the link earlier so that you could pull those. They are the sketches from the June 2024 virtual crop, and they can be found on the Creative Memories blog. So without any further ado, let's get started. I'm excited to work on these photos. It was a busy and fun month at my house. So I've got some fun layouts to work on. So let's go ahead and switch the camera to my desktop. All right. So sketch number 1 looks like this. It's got a frame and it has a large circle. We'll be using the jumbo circle of the custom cutting system for that. We'll also be using the circle punch. These are 1 3/4 inch circles. If you don't have the circle punch, you can use the custom cutting system, the inside of one of the smaller templates. And it's got 3 vertical photos. If your photos are horizontal, of course, you could just turn it 90 degrees and have your photos go the other way. So it's really versatile that way, easy to kind of pick and choose. And if you had a kind of a mix of vertical and horizontal, you could trim them down so that they could fit horizontally, or turn horizontal into vertical, or vice versa. All right. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be using the custom cutting system jumbo circle. I'm going to be doing it with the blue blade. I'm also using the product I'm using is called Sweet Blossom. This came from a secret box going back a little ways. Let's see if there's a date on that. 2023. That was a secret box from 2023. But these colors are blues and turquoises, and there's some greens in there. There's also some neutral, kind of this orangish brown. So the pictures I'm cropping were for this layout. My husband and I went to a Tucson Bird Alliance little social event called Bird Bingo at a cider house, and it was super fun. And yeah, we had a good time. So this layout is pretty straightforward. You could do a couple of things. You could create a frame. So that would save some paper or give you some options to use it for, you have some paper to make mats with, which is what I'm going to do. Also, just because I like to keep my layouts as light as possible, and I'm going to be using cardstock as my base. So I'm going to be using the blue cardstock as my base. I'm going to be using this light blue floral paper as the second layer, and then this pretty turquoise paper is going to be the circle in the middle. And then I'm going to use a variety of different things for the circles going all the way around, and some mats. So let's go ahead and get started. I am gonna, and by the way, you can work on whatever sketches and whatever layouts you want. You don't have to work on what I'm working on. You can work along with me if you'd like, or not if you'd like. And I'm seeing the comments. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Christine. Great to see you guys. All right, I am going to create a frame. And we've done this before, but just to cover it, you're Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer has a mark halfway through the housing. This housing is 2 inches long. So this white mark is at 1 inch. And then you've got lots of measurements on the base of the trimmer. We've also got measurements along this side of the guide, and those are what we'll use to cut our frame. So I'm going to put my cardstock in. This is going to be my base page. And I'm going to put it in at the 1 inch mark. And so this is the 1 inch that's on the right hand side. Now, this is a matter of personal preference. If you're left-handed or you just like working from the right instead of from the left, feel free to do that. I'm going to pull my housing down so that the back of it lines up with the edge of the paper. It's also going to mean the front of the housing is at the 2, which means that the blade starts at the 1 inch mark right here on the white. Okay, I'm going to pull that down and I'm going to bring it all the way until my housing is at the bottom of the page and my white line is at the 11-inch mark. And that means that I've left 1 inch at the top and 1 inch at the bottom. And then I'm going to turn my paper 90 degrees. I'm going to slide this back in here at 1 inch. And I'm going to do the same thing. Just repeat the process. Start that cut at 1 inch, take it down to 11. Turn it one more time for my third cut. Same thing. And the final cut. And now I've got this nice piece that I can use to make mats with, or I can save it for another project. And I actually didn't quite cut all the way through on that, and that's just fine. Sometimes that happens. All right, so we're going to set this aside. It could be used for some circles or maybe the photo mats. All right, so that is going to go right there on my 13-inch mat. I'm going to line it up so that I've got it on my on my mat just perfect. This light blue piece is going to be my next layer. It needs to be 11.5 by 11.5. And so I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch off of the left side and the bottom. Hi, Julia. Does this have the end product? Not sure of the headline of this project. Yeah, so when this is live, so when I'm done, I will show you the finished product. And then I'll also post photos in the Facebook group of the finished products when they're all done so that you can see what they look like. It's great to see you, Julia. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Missed you. All right, so that layer is gonna go right there like that. I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this before I cut my circle because I'm just gonna need to clear some space to do my circle. So I'm gonna use my tape runner and just go right along the edge. You don't need to put anything in the middle because it doesn't have anything to stick to other than the mat. You don't want that. The one thing we do not like is our 13-inch mat getting repositional tape on it because it does stick and it's kind of hard to get off. All right, and so this means because this is 11.5 by 11.5, it's going to have a 1/4 inch border around it. And you can kind of eyeball it, or you can, look at your 1/4 inch hash marks on your mat to line that up. Okay, so this is my base page. I'm going to set that aside briefly while I go ahead and put my sheet here that I'm going to cut my circle out of. Now, this, I'm not using any of the outside of this for the page. So I'm just gonna go ahead and line this up so that I'm using as little of the paper as possible rather than putting it right in the middle. That way I have some nice bits here that these would make 12-inch borders on. You'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. So this is my jumbo circle. I'm going to use the Inside Track blue blade. Okay. So very important. And that's going to make a circle that is 8 5/8 of an inch. You could use the circle cutter if you have that as well. All right. I'm going to just make sure my feet are in there nice and snug. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my circle. Now I'm all the way around. Before I move my blade, my template, I'm just going to make sure this comes out perfectly, and it does. So now I can just set this aside, and I've got quite a bit of this paper left actually, right? So I definitely could get some mats or some border strips out of that. I'll set that aside. And this circle goes in the middle like that. And you can use your Creative Memory zero centering ruler if you really want to line this up perfectly, and take a look at where the center is. Your center would be right here. I just kind of feel comfortable, fairly comfortable eyeballing it. What I'm looking at is just that this is an equidistant from the top and from the bottom. So this one is right around 1 3/4, and this one's at 2 inches. So I'm just going to bump that up about a 1/8 of an inch so that this is about the same there. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. That actually looks almost perfect. Just going to slide that a little bit. Okay. And if your piece of paper has a pattern, you know, you might want to make sure that it's orientated the way that you'd like it to. I'm just going to go ahead and put my paper down. We are going to have to kind of edge some of the circles around it. So I'm not going to put it down super tight because we are going to be tucking those circles in there. So now is when I'm going to go ahead and cut some of those circles. And I'm using my punch. You could use the custom cutting system. The custom cutting system doesn't make a 1 3/4 inch. Well, it might actually. But you can just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be exactly 1 3/4. It could be 1.5. It could even be 2 inches. All right, so I need a total of 12 if I'm doing 1 3/4 inch circles. If you have a different size, you might need more or less. And I'm gonna try, I think I'm gonna try to do like 2 of each pattern and see if I have enough. I might have to come back and cut a couple more. This one. I don't know. I'll put that on here. We'll see if it works. It's kind of light. This might not be enough contrast. There's also, if I can get like this one. Yeah. So this paper has this turquoise strip. Try that as well. The color is the same as the circle, so again, I'm not 100% sure if that'll work. See what other papers I pulled to make some of these circles with. There's this green. I'm not in love with combining the green with the green with the turquoise and the blues. So I'm going to set that aside for now. This backside though is nice. So it's got a sunburst pattern on it, and it's kind of grayscale. So Up to 8 there, and there's a nice polka dot here. Again, low, subtle tonal. Uh, this drape, I think. So hopefully I have a good mix of kind of bright colors mixed with lighter ones to give us some good contrast. So let's see how this looks. Maybe something along those lines. It's gonna be kind of down here at the bottom. I'm gonna, before I adhere these down, I'm going to take a look at my photos and make sure, you know, where I place them, that we've got, that it works. So the photo mats are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. I'm gonna use this navy stock. Oops. This was what I gutted out of the base. So 5 I can get. My photos are cropped down to 5.5 by 3.5. Yep, I was able to get all 3 mats out of centerpiece. So I love it when that works out. Go ahead and tape the corners of all 3 photos. I have the mats. What is everybody working on tonight? Are you guys working on June of this year, or do you have another project or another month or year that you're working on tonight? Okay. So I'm gonna put this one in the middle. And then these other 2, just tuck in here. These have been like that. Not like that. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and just adhere these down. And then I'll tuck those circles in behind them just so that I know where we have room and a need. This one I'm gonna try to get fairly well centered in the circle. And straight up and down. Just a little bit. Samantha's working on May 2027 or 2007. Good. I feel like this should come over maybe just a touch. I'm not super perfectionist when it comes to this, but I do want to make sure that it looks even on the page. So that's why I'm just kind of there. Now those photos are kind of splitting the middle. All right, and then there's 6 on the top and the bottom. Just, overlapping them just slightly, trying to keep them at about the same height going around. That looks pretty good. I'm not going to worry too much about them being the same on the top as they are on the bottom. Slightly different order. There, I think something like that works pretty well. It doesn't have to be perfect in terms of like the spacing on them. But just kind of eyeball it. And I have some of these papers are directional, and I'm not really too worried about it. Actually, I'm gonna turn it so that it's not going straight. Okay, and with these again, I've already kind of got them in place, so I'm just gonna lift them up and put them down with my tape runner, and then I'll just kind of go back and make sure everybody's sticking down pretty well. I feel like these lighter circles would be, it would probably be a good idea to accentuate them a little bit. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find my navy pen somewhere. And I'm gonna just do some dotted lines around the edge of these lighter circles. Just so there's some contrast. Another technique would be to ink. I don't use regular inks a whole lot, but what I would do, or what you could do, is use the ink of your pen on a sponge and wet it. So just ink a sponge, and then with your Creative Memories fine tip pen, using the wide end of a dual tip pen, and kind of get it a little bit damp, and then you can ink the edges of your papers like you might a traditional inking technique with stamp ink. Maybe next month I'll get organized and I can show you guys how to do that. Okay, so I just kind of made some stitch marks around the outside of some of these guys, and I just realized that this one needs a slight adjustment over there. same with this one. It kind of overlaps a little bit too much. Do that there. And then this one's just gonna kind of peek out just a little bit. All right. Okay, so now it's really just a matter of the embellishments. This is a pretty quick and easy page. I have stickers that go with this, and I also have some titles. I don't know that any of the titles are great. They're more like homey, but there are some sticker titles I think that would work pretty well and some fun embellishments. So on a 2-page layout, I think you could just get away with doing maybe 2 embellishment clusters. And then, maybe combine that with a title of some sort. So I have some fun of these blossom shaped stickers. And then there's a blossom punch actually that these fit on, but this is not a super floral page. So I kind of, even though the papers have some floral pattern, I'm not really going a whole lot heavy into the florals. So let's see, what a day, outrageous fun. I think maybe I'll use outrageous fun. This is also a good way to incorporate this other color in here that was part of this collection. Let's see. Maybe I'm gonna kind of create a little bit of a cluster here. And let's see. This one. Like that. Like that. And then I have some little dots here. Look on there, try to get that in the center. That looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna do maybe the best. A little heart. I actually think this needs another embellishment of some sort. Let's see. Want some contrast there. Maybe I'll use this peach to kind of bring the title together. Like that. All right, and then I'm just gonna put on here real quick. Birds and bingo. The Docker cider house. And this was June 25. That's it. Pretty straightforward. I'm not going to journal on here. I think it's, there's not a whole lot to say. It's birds and bingo. It was a Bocker, and it was in June. And it's pretty obvious what we were doing and having fun. So, all right. That is layout number 1. What do you guys think of that? Fun. Any questions? All right. I'm going to have a little drink a tea here real quick. I am I went on a scrap weekend this past weekend, for the first time since I've moved to Arizona. So it had been February of 2019 since the last time I went away and scrapped just for myself. And it was awesome. And I'm exhausted. I'm still recovering from being staying up way too late, too many nights in a row. I'm actually just thinking about putting a little center on that blossom right there. So the I just haven't been able to get enough caffeine in my system. Christine, you're working on your CCI sketches. Yeah, I was thinking today I might try and see if I could knock out maybe one or two more. I did most of the ones that I was interested in doing. But there might be one more that I would do before the deadline, but we'll see. I also have been working on sketches from the Memories Matter event that a group of creative memories organized to raise money for Alzheimer's and as part of the Longest Day campaign. So if you don't know about that, you can just search Facebook for Memories Matter scrapbooking and you can learn all about it. It was really, really nice event, super impressive group of sketches, and all the money went to charity. They raised over $50,000. So it was really cool. Oh, thank you, Christine. Sometimes I do make it look easy, but I'll tell you, these sketches help me make it look easy. That's one of the reasons why I love working from these sketches. They really are super useful for getting pages done because almost always they're quick and easy. So, all right, sketch number one is done, one and done. We're gonna move on to sketch number two. You guys are gonna melt when you see this. So I think most of you know I'm a cat person. I'm not really a dog person. I don't dislike dogs. I just don't want one. But my daughter is crazy about dogs. And when we went to visit my friend in Montana, my daughter and I went to Montana for a very quick visit for Father's Day to see my dad. And my lifelong childhood best friend has a new corgi puppy. And he is in these pictures, I think he's about 12 weeks old. And his name is Vinny. And he could not possibly be cuter. And he's a really sweet boy, too. All right, so we're gonna do sketch number two. So I am gonna turn sketch number two 90 degrees, and I'm gonna put, because my photos are all vertical. I didn't have a horizontal photo for this. So I'm gonna turn it 90 degrees. But I like the vertical stripes through it. So I'm actually only gonna turn this inside square vertically, and you'll see what I mean by that. So this is pretty straightforward, some more layering. This shows you with 4 3-inch strips. So if you did that, you would definitely be doing a welding technique. I'm actually going to use a base page that's going to reveal the top and the bottom as the same paper, and then I'm going to put 2 strips across the center of that to kind of make it simple. So I'm using an old, for a while, Creative Memories did little, I don't even remember what we called them. They were not really page kits. I might have the name of it here somewhere. Theme packs. Creative Memories did these theme packs. So this is called the Puppy Love theme pack. It had 4 sheets of designer paper and 1 sheet of cardstock and 2 sticker strips. So I didn't love the yellow cardstock in there, so I'm gonna use the blue cardstock as my part of my base, but the paper, the base paper is gonna be this designer paper, which got these really fun kind of artistic dogs. I feel like this is kind of very retro, the way the shapes here. I think feel like this is like definitely a 60s vibe with this paper. They're super cute. So that's going to be my base. And then I'm going to use the orange and the light blue for the strips through the middle, the navy as my square layer in the middle, and then this really fun little print. I don't know if you can see this print. It's got little dog bones and balls and paws and leashes and treats. As the center. So there's a lot of layering going on with this, but it's not hard at all. And then we'll embellish with these fun stickers. I don't have a, the dog punch because that is, I have a paw punch though. I do. I have a paw punch. I'll grab that. We might use that. We'll set that aside. Okay, so this is going to be the base, and then I need 3-inch strips out of both the light blue and the orange. And I'm trying to decide, do I want my stripes to go vertical or horizontally? I tend to like them to go vertically, so I think I'll do that. So this is going to be a 3 by 12-inch strip. And then this I'll set aside. It's also going to be strip. This one is not really directional. I mean, it is and it isn't. The backside of it is. Okay, so these are just gonna go right in the middle here. And then I'm gonna go ahead, since I'm cutting, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my base page. This one's gonna be 10 by 10. So I'm gonna cut at the 10 mark, 2 inches off the side of that. Set that aside. It'll make a good border strip. Right, so I've cut this down, and this piece is now 10 inches by 10 inches. And then the last piece I need is 9.5 by 9.5. And I'm gonna go ahead and use this fun print. Cutting it to 9.5 and then turning it 90 degrees and lining it up again at 9.5. So I've got my 9.5-inch square. So those two are gonna go, that's gonna go in there like that. And I think I'll go ahead and cut my photo mats. I'm gonna use these guys for my photo mats. So I need one that's 6.5 by 4.5. The other one shows it's unmatted, so I think I'll try that, but I reserve the right to come back and see which way should I do this. Come back and mat those other two. You guys know how I love to mat my photos. Okay, so unless I decide to make more mats, my cuts are all done. I'm gonna go ahead and start adhering. I'm gonna use my regular tape runner. Tape this guy down. You could use your mat to measure this perfectly. I'm gonna eyeball it. It's gonna have a 1/4 inch edge around all 4 edges. And then this one I am gonna line up on my mat. So each section of this is the same, is equidistant. They're all 3 inches. So this one I'm gonna line the top up at the 3 inch mark. And the bottom at the 6 inch mark. Kind of is gonna, the red, orange and the blue are gonna kind of split the middle with the pattern bits from the base being on the top and bottom. So 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. Right. And then this guy's just centered right in the middle. Cat hair on the dog page. Okay. And this again, is a 10-inch square, so it's gonna have a 1 inch border around all of the edges. So I'm just kind of trying to line that up the best I can on my paper. I think I have it a little crooked. Okay, so there's the base. Let's see. What's it gonna do? So then I'm gonna put my picture vertically rather than horizontally. So I'm just turning my sketch so that I can put that. So there's that. And then these two kind of split the middle. And just I think it's okay to leave them unmatted. It will just fine. There's a lot going on with the background paper. And I do want it to kind of show through so that you can see it, take advantage of that cute little print. Okay, so I'm adhering those, and then this last photo. Part of me wants to line that up at the top, but I'm gonna give it a little extra space. I'm not gonna be super symmetrical here. All right, so now I've got room to journal down here. I could find a cute little journal box, or I could use my write-on strips. We'll see what we do. Let's embellish first, and then I'll put the cute journal. So I won't be using any of the borders. And this is not our dog, so there are some of these stickers that aren't super applicable. But dog person, Nora is a dog person. And then there's other things on here like cutie and love and all of that. That's pretty cute. So let's see. Let's think. This here, some hearts and maybe some paw stickers. Ball and a bone. their heart. Touch. Okay. There's little paw prints on here too, I think. Maybe I might swap this. Let me see here. That's blue. Just kind of trying to balance this out a little bit here. All right. I think that's pretty good. And then I'm going to use, I think, painting on this. Maybe I'll just use a piece of white lined paper. See what I have. I have a little piece that would fit in there pretty well. I don't want to cover up this background too much. This is why I'm kind of debating about my journaling. Maybe I stick it out like that. Or I just do a tiny little box, maybe something like that. I mean, the linear part of my brain is saying that the box should go right there, but I feel like it's cutting off too much of this background paper that I like to show off. So I think maybe I'll offset it slightly, and maybe I'll give it a little bit of a color. Does that just make it too much? Strip here. This piece. Scrap from it. So this was, I think I might cut that down to 3 inches. So that's 3 by 2. 3.5 by 2.5. I don't have a ton to say. I think I can get it in a few words and make it pretty straightforward. I'll add a couple stickers to it and make it cute. Even like put it down here like that. I'll do that. I'm going to put that there like that. All right. Other than finalizing my journaling, I think that looks pretty good. So again, a pretty straightforward layout. This did use a lot of different papers. So I will say that about this, you know, you're going to get into your paper stash a little bit, but I think it's super cute. You could definitely make it simpler by using cardstock as the background, and you know, kind of eliminating using one of those, but just kind of depends on what you've got in your stash and what you're feeling. But I thought it was adorable, and I really wanted to make a special page for meeting Vinny. Cute boy. Right, I'm just gonna tidy up here. I'd love to hear what you think about these sketches already. One thing I do try to mention is, you single page sketches. If you want to turn them into a 2-page sketch, there's a lot of ways that you can do that. One simple way, this page is very symmetrical, so you could definitely just create a second page that's identical to the first page, and you would be carrying these strips across, so that would be a nice way to show some continuity across the page. And this would get, you could get 4 by 4 photos in here. I didn't mention the sizes. These are 4 by 4 photos. And this is just a 4 by 6. I didn't even trim this one down. So you could get 4 by 4s in there. On the second page, you could turn it and get that horizontal photo in there if you had a mix of vertical and horizontal. So there's a lot of different things that you could do there. This is a great layout. And you could make a lot of varieties with that. You could trim the edge of this frame with one of our decorative blades on the 12-inch trimmer and add some fun interest to that. You could throw in a border maybe along the top and bottom here as well. Just have fun with it. All right, so that is Meeting Vinny, second sketch complete. I'm just tidying up a little bit. Let's see, it's 6:53. We've been on for about an hour. I'm gonna have a little drink. Okay. Sketch number 3. This is a 2-page sketch. This one is going to take a little bit more time. The way that I'm doing it, I'm making kind of an enhanced border, but I'm going to show you some fun techniques with this. So this is sketch number 3. It's got 6 photos on it. The layout that I wanted to do for this, I had a lot of photos, and so I'm going to be doing peekaboo pockets where the 4 by 6s are. So I'm actually going to be getting, even though this is 6, I'm going to be getting 9. I'm going to be getting 12 photos on here by using peekaboo pockets. And this is also a fairly straightforward layout. The base pages, and then just a piece of paper that goes across the middle. I am going to be welding mine or piecing it because I am using a paper that I wanted to use the front and the back on. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so tools for this one, for me, I'm going to be using this mountain border, and I'm going to be using the Victorian blade for the 12-inch trimmer. All right, so those up there. And I'm going to be using 4 by 6 peekaboo pockets, and I'm going to be doing 4 by 6 and 6 by 4. And that means that some of them, the peekaboo is on the long side, and some of them, the peekaboo flip is on the short side. Okay. Because I wanted to make sure this page was going to work out the way that I wanted to work, and also just in the interest of time, I have actually created the left-hand side of the layout already. So this is what it looks like. And you'll see that this paper is the one I'm using for each section. So because of that, I only had 2 sheets of it, which I would need all of the 2 sheets. I had to piece my paper together. So I actually have 3 cuts on this piece to make this work. And then I created this mountain border, and then put these strips to kind of delineate it off the top. Okay. And I built this just on a piece of insert from a previous paper pack. So I'm using the new Mountain Scenes collection. I just love this one, and it came out perfect time for my trip to Montana last couple weeks ago for Father's Day. So, and it's got some great stickers and the photos I'm gonna be printing. I mean, the mountain scenes, could it get any better with photos like this? Look at these beautiful, majestic mountains. These are the Beartooth Mountains in Montana between Red Lodge and Yellowstone Park. If you're familiar at all with that area. Stunning, stunning, stunning views. Okay, and then I'm using, also, I'm pairing this with some cardstock to make my borders. So I'm using light blue, white, and, you know, guys, I'm not 100% sure what this color is. This is from a paper or a cardstock buffet. Maybe it's charcoal or albatross or something like that. Anyway, it's a dark gray. It's a shade of dark gray. All right, so let's construct this page. I'm going to set the completed one aside. I'm going to grab another one of these sheets of paper to be the base. I got to make sure that I'm cutting it the right way because I want my mountains to go horizontally. So they are horizontal. I'm going to cut at 3 inches for the top section, and then I'm going to cut a 1-inch bottom. So that middle section is 8 by 12. The top is 3 by 12 and the bottom is 1 by 12. And so then these guys just go on here like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything down. Certainly it would be a lot easier and quicker if you were using 2 different papers, but of course I got it in my head that those are the 2 papers that I had to use. That's the only way it would work, but it's not hard. It just is an extra step. These sketches are from the June 2024 virtual crop, Christine. For my catch-up crops, I'm using the sketches, the virtual crop sketches from last year, since we're also doing this crop along for this year. So that's where you'll find those, June 2024. All right, so I've taken 3 pieces of paper and basically reconstructed my 12-inch sheet for my base. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is punch my mountains. It makes my camera shake, so I'm just going to apologize in advance. It's going to be a little shaky. So with the Creative Memories border punches, you've got the 2 black lines on the newer ones, and you line up your paper depending if you're left or you're right-handed, just at one of those hash marks, whichever one you prefer to start with. I usually start with the right-hand one and pull my paper through to the right. So I'm just going to punch that down, and then I'm going to move it along, and I line up the cutout portion of the border with the image that's on the base plate. I don't know if you guys hear the emergency alert going off. It sounds like we've got a dust storm alert. Thankfully, I'm not out there driving. Better than snowstorm and ice storm alerts, right, guys? Okay. So I've made border number 1. I'm just going to set that aside. We'll cut them all down together. I'm going to do the gray one next. Same process, just punch and advance the paper through, lining it up of each punch as I go along. All right, the third layer of my punch, I'm going to do a little bit differently. So the light blue is actually the layer that goes in the middle. And because they're offset, I'm actually going to start my paper in the middle, not at one of the black hash lines, but I'm going to put it in at the middle. And I'm just going to split the little creative memories, the little shutter down the middle. That's the center of the punch. So that's where I'm gonna start my paper, is in the center of the punch. It looks like that, guys. And that is how I can create a third border that's gonna be the middle border, and it'll be offset between the other two. And if that doesn't make sense, you'll see how it all comes together, and then it'll definitely make sense. It's a great little trick. All right. Trash. And then I'm going to trim each of these down to 1 3/4. Trying to remember, it's possible that I might have trimmed the gray one down to 1 1/2. We'll see if I need to fix that later. I should have written it down, but I didn't. All right, and 1 3/4. So I'll show you. So the white snow caps go in the back, then the blue goes next. And see, because they're offset, we can see both the white caps and the blue caps of the mountains, right? And then this guy comes next, and he's gonna go just like a little bit further down. And I'm just gonna look real quick. This guy. Let's see. Yeah, I did. I trimmed an extra 1/4 of an inch off of this gray one. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna build my border, and I'm gonna definitely wanna use my silicone mat to do that. The white goes in the back, the blue is next, and I'm gonna use my repositional tape runner, and I'm just gonna get the little tops with that pretty good so that it sticks down. And then the rest of it just as you would normally. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same with the gray guy. And of course, you could use designer paper to do this rather than cardstock if you got some good designer papers. That would be really pretty. All right, and then I'm just going to do one last pass over the back. Just down. I love that silicone mat, guys. It comes in 2 sizes, but that one that's just 4 inches wide, I tend to use that the most. Then I'm going to go ahead and line that up along the top, along the seam, the top of the seam that is there. And then I'm going to get out my Victorian punch or Victorian blade. on my foam trimmer. Don't let me forget to switch it out. I already had one side on this piece that was trimmed, and these are just 1/4 of an inch strips. So I'm gonna cut 2 more of those. There's 1 and 2. So for this layout, it's kind of really a great anything goes. I'm using these paper strips, but you could definitely use border stickers, um, a combination of border stickers and punches, the border maker system, the border punches, kind of like whatever goes with your pages, go for it. Just gonna cover this seam up with that strip right there along the top, and then do the same down here. Straight there, and my page is done. So this is what they look like together. Isn't that fun, guys? I love that. This is one of my favorite places in Montana, so I might have gone a little bit overboard with the mountains, but I love them so much. Okay, so I need some mats. I need 3 4.5 by 6.5 inch mats. My intention was just to use my cardstock that I have left here. So this works out almost perfectly. Gotta change my blade. Having very high winds, yeah. Yes, Samantha, I will see you later. We might be having it too. Maybe I might even, hopefully I won't lose power, but you stay safe and do what you need to do. And we'll see you when we see you. All right, so this is 4.5 by 6.5. And then this one, I'm gonna cut this to 6.5 so that I can get 2 of them out of there. And a strip. I'm gonna cut 4.5. And all right, so I've got 2 of the gray, 4.5 by 6.5, and 1 of the blue. So, like I said, I'm going to be doing some peekaboo pockets to get all the pictures that I want in here. So I think I'll do these guys over here. There's going to be some overlap into that side there. And then this is, maybe I should swap this so there's more contrast there. This one here. This 2 little pictures. I'm just going to refer to my sketch and make sure everything looks okay. So the sketch shows this photo kind of hanging up out here, but guys, I worked hard on this mountain border, so I'm gonna keep it down a little bit. And I'll let these guys kind of, I think I'll do something like that. And then I'm gonna journal over here. So that there. And then these, kind of the same thing on this side. I don't want to let there be light. So I need to decide which one I'm gonna put on the. What's this map photo here? Hi, Lori. I'm glad you could make it and definitely catch the replay. We're working on sketch number 3 here. Thank you, Samantha, for the layered mountains. I like them too. That was kind of fun. I'm really guilty of not using my border punch as much as I should. So it's kind of gonna be something I'm gonna try to get better at for the rest of this year, is using my tools more, specifically my border punches, border maker cartridges, and border punches. The border punches, I think, get neglected by me. There's this nice lookout. We drove, took a scenic drive with my dad, and it's incredibly beautiful. There was still a lot of snow up there. And anyway, there's this like lookout where you can get out and walk to a vista point. And there's a lot of chipmunks up there, and of course they're well accustomed to being cute and getting snacks from people. So my daughter, being the animal lover that she is, she just goes crazy whenever she sees something like that. And and I kind of forgot about it, I'll be honest. And so I didn't take any like seeds for the chipmunks, but there was another family there that was kind enough to share there. So my daughter got to hand feed the chipmunks. And of course, I'm thinking about her getting bit, or, catching something, or getting fleas, or who knows what. I mean, they are wild animals. They are super cute though, absolutely adorable. I mean, what's not much cuter than a chipmunk? I don't know if you guys can see this, but that is me adorable. Even though they're, kind of pests. They're not rodents, but they're one step up. And maybe one of you science people can tell me if they're actually rodents or not. Okay, so this is the stack I'm gonna do. I think I'll put, oh, is that what I wanted? Yes. It looks different. Okay. So these are gonna go on the peekaboo. And then here. This is the one I put. She still at work, so I'm gonna let you do something fun while I work. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so these are my base photos. Let's talk a little bit about peekaboo pockets. What did I do with them? They're over here somewhere. So the 4x6 peekaboo pockets come in 4x6 and 6x4, meaning that they either have the tab at the top on the 4-inch side, like this one. So for this, my vertical photo, I want one that I'm gonna flip up and down like this. And for these guys, you could do it either way, right? Like you could also do a long photo and flip it like this, And same with the horizontal. So it's not a rule that um, the direction that they go. It's just a matter of personal preference for your page, and it can vary from page to page. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have mine flip up like this on this side, and this one over here, I'm actually gonna adhere it to the bottom and have it flip down like this so that you could see everything all at once. And then this one I'll have it flip out to this. What did I say? I was gonna have it flip up like that. I want it to flip out to the side. No, I think I'll do up to the top. Okay. So, I just have to put my photos in the sleeves properly so that I know that they work when I want them to, so that when I flip this up, the second photo needs to be upside down so that it's right side up when you flip it. I'm just gonna stick these guys in here. And these get adhered to the page protector. So I'm not going to put these on quite yet because it does go on the page protector, but this is what it's going to look like when I flip it up like that. Same thing with these guys. If I want this to flip down, let's see, I want this to be at the top. So it's going to flip down. And if you get them in wrong, it doesn't matter because they don't ever adhere closed. So even after you put it on, if you want to switch it out, you can. These also are essentially repositional, which is really nice. So when you actually put it on your page protector, if you need to make adjustments to it, you can definitely do that. So that goes on. So here I took a page that had 6 photos on it, and I doubled the number of photos on this page from 6 to 12. Oops, see, that one's upside down. By using Peekaboo Pockets. Isn't that awesome? I I do use these quite a bit, but I feel like there's something that don't get used enough, and you can do so many different fun things with them. This is just a pretty basic use of the peekaboos. There's a lot more fun things that you can do. All right, so let's get some journaling on here and some embellishments. Let's see, I'm not going to use any of my border stickers. I'll set those aside. There's definitely some fun phrases. The title really could go anywhere. You could put it up here. You could put it somewhere over here. Either way, these are just so great. So I think there's Mountain Bound, Mountain Memories, Wander, Discover, Wild and Free, Take Me Away. One of the things I want to do is create a little tabs for my peekaboos. So we can do that. Trying to think, I think the arrow punch would be good. I often will use a circle, but these arrow punch might be a good. Let's see how that'll work. Not everybody would have this arrow punch. It was a promo, I think. Another smaller arrow punch that came out with the Hit the Road collection. So you might be able to do that. This is, I'm kind of in experimenting a little bit with this here. These two. What I'm gonna do is put them. That'll be enough. I think probably what I need to do is circle. Take, I'm gonna cut a couple of circles. Just gonna make it too small. It's a little bit too small. I'm gonna cut a few of these to use. It's just kind of little tabs. We actually do have a tab punch as well. So kind of whatever you might have. Just punch them all. They're gonna turn up, you know they are. So I'm going to take these two circles and I'm going to adhere them together. If I can find my tape runner. Not sure how that can happen. Anybody else do that? Like you lose your tape runner from one moment to the next. So I just adhered one end together because I want to be able to open this up. And I'm gonna put this on here like that, if you can see that. So, but I still need some adhesive on the inside because I want that to stick to the peekaboo pocket. And this just makes a little tab so that people know that there's something there and they can use to lift that up. And I'm going to take an arrow. There. On this side. This way. And I'll probably use some stickers. There's some cute little pine cones. Just kind of decorate that a little bit. This pine cone actually. Maybe something like that. Okay. Easy breezy. You could do that with, if you've got the tab punch, you could do that with it. You could use probably a banner punch. And you'd have a few options. Just play with them, have fun. Of course, I found one of my other arrows, but we'll use that again. Lori, what do I think about the new large tape runner? So I have one. I have used it some. I'm glad you mentioned it because this has regular taper runner in it and I can't find my other one, so I'll go ahead and use this. I like it. It's just a little bit different, so it's a matter of getting used to, but I think it's good. I do have some issues with grip strength, so I think this is great for those of us who have those issues or maybe have arthritis in the hand. It's just like a little bit more, you have a little bit more flexibility with it, and you don't have to press quite so hard. And there is a repositional refill available starting today. So if you like it, you can now also get it with repositional. The repositional is a refill only. So you either would need to swap them out or you could buy a second dispenser and then keep the regular as a refill, and then swap out, make it a repo one. So I do like it. I have not had any problems with mine. I've used, it looks like about maybe half of my first roll of tape with that, and it's been good so far. It's been good so far. And this little nose on here actually is really nice and tight, which is good because then it stays on, you don't lose it. So, um, yeah, okay. Um, let's do some other embellishments and journal box here. The scenes collections only came with stickers and paper. There's no mats and journal boxes or other die cut embellishments. So you kind of have to wing it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and use another piece of lined paper here. Just see if I have a big enough one. I might need to cut one down. There's one I could. Don't know how much I want to write on this. A fair amount. There's a little bit of a story here on this one. So I want to give myself a generous sized journal box. Maybe like 2 3/4. And good. Oh, what do you know? That fits on there perfectly. Let's see that order. Make a little mat for my journal box here. This one actually is old paper. I'm gonna go ahead and put the narrower lines side up. I liked it when they did that, when they had the line paper was two-sided and one side was more like, one was like regular and one was like college ruled. And it's kind of nice. Um, I'm going to put this down here towards the bottom and I'm going to save this space for a title. So let's get a good one here. I think we'll do Mountain Memories. This is just a touch bigger. Get some trees in here, maybe as the background. Something like definitely could have popped that up with some foam squares. Um, wander, keep climbing, free spirit. Free spirit here. That's where that's gonna go. Okay, that looks pretty good. And so then I just need to embellish this other page. Here, so I know there was a ton of snow up there. June, I don't know, what was it, June 13th, maybe? There were people skiing down the mountainside. It isn't like a designated ski area. They were just skiing in the wild. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so let's see. I'd like to do kind of a nice little, maybe down here. I may move this photo up actually, so that I've got some room to embellish. Let's see what we have here. Some more trees. See you at the top. This actually was literally at the very top of that mountain. Is 11,000 feet. So we were as high as we were gonna get there. Maybe not that. It's just some nice little. Like that. Yeah, and I think with the tabs that I'll put on these guys, that's gonna be pretty good embellishments. I feel like it could stand to have something more adventure, wander, discover. Adventure, wander, discover. Might actually use those tabs for the actual tabs. So keep climbing. Adventure. Just add a little something here. Okay, so the only thing that's left to do is I will add more of these little tabs onto these photos. When I photograph this, I'll put some page protectors on it and show you guys how they work when they flip out. So, all right, that is layout number 3. We've got just one more to go. It's about 7:30, so we're making pretty good time. I think I'll embellish this little guy a little bit here too. This guy. Just a little extra on there. All right. That is layout number 3. I need a couple minutes to tidy up. I made myself a right mess with this project, this layout. There was a lot going on, a lot of punches and tools and things. I'm gonna just get this straightened up just for a few minutes. So thank you for your patience while I do that. So it's a busy week for me at my house. My daughter's birthday is Wednesday. She's turning 13, which, is a milestone birthday, but it also was just kind of hard for mom to believe that she's already 13 and she's kind of been acting like a teenager for a while. Not all bad, not in all bad ways, but it's just such a change, So there's the last year or so, there'd be days where you could just tell like she wasn't sure if she wanted to be a big kid or a little kid, but now she's mostly definitely acting like she wants to be a big kid. So, there's that big celebration this week. We went her birthday surprise gift was tickets to her first big concert. So we went to Shakira last week, and I thought I would scrapbook that, but holy cow, I had so many pictures, I just didn't even know where to start. So I'm not doing that one. All right. Sketch number 4, our final sketch of the night. This is the sketch. It only has 4 photos on it. So this would be another one where you would have a great opportunity to use some peekaboo pockets. It's also all vertical photos, which I'm going to mix up on this layout. With the prevalence of taking photos on your phone, I know I personally find that the vast majority of my photos are vertical. But I try to make an effort to take some horizontal ones. So anyway, a lot of things you could do here. You definitely could do some different sizes in here and get a lot more photos on this page. 2 photos per page is not a lot, and I know sometimes we just have way more photos than that. But let's see what we come up with. I am going to, oh, thank you, Lori. I think she'll have a great day. She and I can't even imagine her being 21 or 23, so good for you. These are pictures from my weekend crop, and the group photo I don't have yet, so I'm saving space for the group photo. I'm using the Scrap Happy collection, which is super fun. I am going to do some welding on this. If you noticed, these pieces are actually, I read it wrong. So I'm not going to do some welding. I need to pull a couple of sheets for the base. I think I have some. Hopefully they're not bright yellow. They are bright yellow. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to deal with that. That'll add some fun to it, I think. I could actually also probably use that backside. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. This will be too much. It might not be. Actually, this might work okay. Most of it will be covered up, but let's try it. Okay, So this is a fairly straightforward layout. It does some layering. I'm going to use this as my back, these pieces as my base pages, and then this word page, foam squares for the win, scrap buddies, there's no mistake, just creative opportunities, scrap eat, sleep, repeat. It's gonna be super fun. And then this page has cameras as a tonal camera piece. So this guy, so I'm gonna do this one is the outside. So these are 5.5 by 11. So I'm gonna cut a 1-inch strip off the bottom. 5, 2 that are 5.5. And the second one at 5.5. That can go in my scrap pile. And then these pieces are 6 by 9. So I'm going to cut this at 9 along the bottom. So I have a nice 3-inch piece. And then cut it in half at 6. Okay. And then these are 6 by 2. And you know what? I think I'm going to use the back side of this. It's also a blue tonal, but it's a little bit different shade, so I think that'll work. So I'm just going to cut this down to 2 inches and cut it in half at the 6-inch mark. So now I have 2 6 by 2-inch pieces. I need to switch my blade. I don't know if you, my cuts are getting a little bit rough, so I'm going to just turn around my little blade mat. All right, and then I need 2 pieces for the top that are 12 by 1.5. What I'm going to do actually is use this scissor punch. So I punched one of them just to make sure that I thought it would work. So I'm going to go ahead and create a second punch. I also need a 1/2-inch strip of this for the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and cut that now before I oops. Oopsie. It's amazing how much better that cuts with just by swapping that around. It's crazy how quickly that works. All right, and then I'm going to cut that in half. So I have 2 1/2-inch. And then I need my scissor punch. So here I am using another border punch. So I'm really proud of myself tonight. I've used this second one. Yay me. I'm just doing the same, lining them up as they come along. This one also has a little V piece that you can line up along the bottom. That's helpful. So there's the second one of those. And I think I'm pretty good. I'm gonna try to use some embellishments for some of the other elements on the page. We'll see how that works out. I'm kind of winging it, guys. Okay, here's my base pages. One of the back side of this is yellow. I'm gonna try it and see, take a vote and see what you guys think. Ooh, the yellow is bright. It's a pretty yellow. It's not like goldenrod. It's very much a, I don't know, lemon yellow, pretty bright. Okay. So this piece goes there, that piece goes there, these two line up. Let's go together. Mm. So I'm trying to put this over here. So that's essentially what that's going to look like with this at the top, across the top. Across the top. It's two, so, what do you think? Yellow, or I think it would depend on your photos. Are there yellow in them? There's really not. So there's a lot of blue in them. These are the pictures. Yeah. I think the tape runner looks good. I guess is the question, is the tape runner distracting? Yeah, I think it looks much better with the tape runner than it does with the yellow. Okay. So I'll flip this over and we can start adhering. I found my tape runner, of course, and as soon as I tidied up, it was obvious where it was. And so this starts at half an inch down from the top. And this just lines up straight there. So make sure it's even. There is this nice piece that goes over the seam, so it's not quite perfect. Doesn't matter because we're going to cover it up. And then this just butts right against that. It's a little bit off here, so I'm going to line that up against the bottom of that one. Cover it up there. Perfect. Okay, and then use my repo on this guy here so that I can put in all the bits and pieces. And looks like this comes about a half an inch down from, so at about 11, an inch from the top, about another half an inch down. Like, this looks straight. I can't tell if this is straight. I'm gonna have to use my measurements here. There. Okay. All right, so that's the first page. And then I'm gonna use my first page to kind of line up my second page so that I know that they are gonna work with each other. And I have these turned, I think, different ways. Stop there like that. The color pattern. Wasn't lining up, so. Right, and just adhering this last piece. A little too much overlap there. Okay. All right. And then let's get this here. These almost line up pretty well. Okay, now I did pull some photo mats. I'm being even lazier. But I have them with the collection, and why not? So I'm gonna do some vertical and horizontal with these guys. Because that's what I have. Look at the purple there. And like I said, I am waiting for the group photo from this. I'm gonna move these guys just a little bit closer, just so there's a little bit more cohesion between the two pages. Something like about like that. Put these down. So I had so much fun last weekend. My really good friend from Maryland came out and went to the crop with me. So we had the great opportunity to catch up. We hadn't seen each other for 2.5 years. Let's see here. So this photo goes there. The group photo is going to go right there. that photo is gonna go there. And it's hard to choose. I actually, I think maybe I might split this in half and put two photos on here because I like them both. So I'm just cutting this down to 3x4. That way I can get two images on this map. So this basically is two photos that make a 4x6. Two, three, 4x3s. Right. So as I mentioned, I am leaving this map blank because I am still waiting for the photo. But then I've got some fun embellishment options here. I'm gonna put the title, I think, maybe here. There's a nice open spot right there for it. And then I've got room to journal across the bottom here. I could even do some journaling here. Kind of like the idea of doing it across the bottom there. The sketch shows some banners or little flags coming down here. So I thought I might try to just use some of these, some of the embellishments that have come in here. So there's this fun little epoxy embellishments that I thought might work. I actually have the exact right number of them to do that across there. I also have these little circle stickers that are the shutters. And I thought maybe I could kind of mix and match with the epoxy ones. But then these titles, I have a good title here. Memories. I thought there was some better than that. Maybe the stickers have better titles. Oh, happy day. I love my scrapbooking sisters. We take photos as a return ticket to the minute everyone's gone. My happy place. Helping our hearts out. Probably do a couple. Happy day. Put up on some squares. I feel like this needs a little pop up. One squares for the win. It even says it on the paper, right, guys? So, all right, and okay, so I need to do some journaling here. I think what I'm just gonna do is some of the write-on stickers for this section. Where are my stickers? Scissors out. Trim this up. Straight. These are the narrow ones. There are wider ones as well. I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 down to start, and I can add more if I need to. Not sure. So that's what I'm going to put on there for journaling. Tag here. It's kind of fun. It's got a little foil in it. I realized I put this move these down. I realized I was going to try to embellish. Thankfully, they're still fresh and they're coming up just fine. So I'm going to add some embellishments along that line. It's a great example of the perfect use for the multi-purpose tool. I love this thing. Couldn't live without it. Okay. So just gonna do a quick measurement because I want to center this just right. So it's 6 inches, so at the 3 would be where I would want my first sticker. What I'm not sure of is if I want it like below, maybe not like that. Let's see how this works. Let's see, purple. Smudge. So I think that's about right. Looks pretty good. And this one, oh, it's shorter because I overlapped the photo mat, but I still would want to pretend like it's, so the middle one would go here. And then maybe this one I would do 3 of these. I'll do this blue one in the middle. It's a little fussy here. This orange. Kind of be on the inside here. Okay. There. I feel like I probably could stand to have maybe a little bit more embellishments here. This was, let's see, let's try looking through. Just looking for the right. Scrapbooking memories. There. With some consistency across the pages. I think that's pretty good. All right, Samantha, see you. I hope your tree situation is not as bad as it sounds. All right, good night. couple of other journal boxes in here, but I think we're good. I think it's good. I think it's good. Okay. I'm happy with how this page turned out. I just got back from here yesterday, so this is so fresh in my mind. And I woke up this morning and I was like, I really wish I was still scrapbooking. Because I got so much done. It was so nice. But I have so much more to do. So, all right. Once I get this photo on here too, I'll snap a picture of it and show you guys. So that is layout number 4. I'm going to go ahead and switch back my camera to the regular, maybe. Sorry, guys. Here we go. All right. Thanks, everyone, so much. I'm sorry I've got shadow going. I forgot to turn on my overhead light. So let's see if I can get this there. That's better. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, and I hope you got some pages done. I got some inspiration and enjoyed what we're doing. I know I sure did. I love getting these pages done and feeling like I'm a bit caught up. It's like I said, it's super fun scrapbooking, something that I did just yesterday. So thanks so much for joining me. I have the virtual crop, the scrap along will be the second Friday of the month, which is going to be July 11th. And then my in-person crop is Saturday the 19th. So I hope to see you online or in person soon. Thanks again for joining, and always stay up to date with what's happening right here on my Facebook page. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Have a great night.